I move that the Fast Track Approvers Bill be now read a third time. Sir, this is a speech that I will give with a level of seriousness because of the critical importance to the New Zealand public, to the affairs of this House, that this piece of legislation represents. This piece of legislation is built on an innovation that the Honourable David Parker introduced during COVID into this House to fast-track the consideration of proposals dedicated to boosting New Zealand's resilience. Our party, whilst in political wilderness for 3 years, did a great deal of work as to how David Parker's efforts could be improved. With that recipe, we came forward, sir, and formed a government. And that government was formed with the party led by the Prime Minister and the ACT Party. And a key feature of what our party negotiated, sir, was the inclusion into a parliamentary body of work called the Fast Track Bill. In some respects, sir, it ought to have been called the One Stop Shop Bill, because the most important development contained in this bill is the attempt that it makes to conflate multiple consents into a singular process so that those New Zealand investors, those investors who are coming from overseas to join us in our efforts to boost not only our wealth but our resilience, can have confidence that there will be an outcome within a short and reasonable period of time. So we now have arguably the most permissive regime to effect growth and development in Australasia. And perhaps for some people in this Parliament, no higher praise could be recited other than the fact that President Trump in America himself has now promised to deliver a fast-track bill if you are willing to spend $1 billion and turn around the greatest capitalist economy in the world. High praise that I will bank myself. I will now continue to acknowledge that a great deal of work was undertaken by the civil service. The Select Committee put in a sterling effort. The people that submitted to the bill, they supported their democratic entitlements to make applications, to have through the submission process the bill changed, and changed it was, Mr. Speaker, against what I campaigned for, the authority under this bill for applications to gain consents to develop our resources, to build roads, to deliver energy, will be made by an independent panel. An independent panel that I'm hopeful will have the quality of people that the independent assessment panel chaired by a well-known lawyer, David Tapsell, undertook the analysis to deliver us the 149 projects, Mr. Speaker, that are in the schedule. And it was a very bleak day that in a tawdry attempt to capture public attention, members on the other side of the House sought to stigmatise, demonise and spread a whole host of mythology about applicants, including those who are going to improve the housing outcomes for New Zealand. So on behalf of the sentient, respectful members of this House, I want to apologise to the people associated with projects on that list, including the Winton Company, that they were dragged through muck, they were misrepresented, and they were subject to a host of demonising remarks that the people who made those remarks will never mention such things out of the House. Of course, one of the problems with this bill, it's attracted a great deal of dangerous rhetoric from the other side of the House. In fact, applicants on the schedule within this bill are now receiving letters from the Māori Party, and the Māori Party is promising to strip any applicant of their resource rights, consent rights that they may achieve under this bill. So now we have the Venezuelan example here in New Zealand that if you gain a legal statutory consent, then you're going to be stripped of it in the event that the Māori Party forms part of an alternative government. I can assure you, they have nothing to worry about because the Māori Party won't be here at the next election. If the SFO doesn't drive them out, the people who voted for them in will turn their backs on them because this bill actually embeds genuine statutory engagement and participation rights for Māoridom. And of course, we will enrich our nation through the minerals sector. And the minerals sector is about to get a great boost off the coast of Taranaki as a consequence of this bill, where people will have a statutory entitlement to apply for a resource consent, something that has been denied them through mythology, cultural fabrications, but science.
Can I just, Ms Narewa-Packer, there's a difference between interjections and a continual commentary, and you're certainly erring on the latter at the moment, so could you just tone it down a little bit, please?
Sir, there's a line out of the Bible, forgive them, they know what they do. So as I was saying...
Well, there's a line out of the Bible that don't comment on what comes from the chair or some equivalent of, so just carry on, Mr Jones.
Yes, far for me to give you deified status, but I will take on board what you've just said. So what have I covered off? I've covered off that this is pro-development. This is pro-growth. And why are we doing it? We're doing it because the country needs an economic boost. It will achieve economic surplus, jobs that will attract New Zealanders back to the land of the long white cloud, certainty for investors, and where there are opportunities for people to participate, it will be limited to those who actually need to participate. Those who in the past have weaponised environmental law sought to use it for irrelevant purposes such as creating Indigenous sovereignty movements inversely related to the well-being of New Zealanders or our economy, they will be ruled completely out of court. They will be marginalised because their contributions, sir, will not enrich the country. Now, on the question of where to from here, shortly the apparatus will be in place for the fast-track bill to be operationalised. And as we go forward over the next 12 to 15 months, where there may be examples that in the operationalisation this majestic piece of legislation needs further refinement, those opportunities will be seized. But they'll be driven by people who are investing their own time, their own money, and they have a desire to create wealth and an upgrade of the quality of life in New Zealand throughout the Four Winds. I look forward to massive growth in the mining sector. In fact, it was only on Friday that an additional $700 million is being invested into the mining sector on the strength of this bill and naturally the quality of the mining minister's advocacy. But humility requires me not to say much more about that. We'll also see water storage. We'll see the projects that have been hobbled, undermined and marginalised through factors that don't belong in resource management law. Sadly, that side of the House has sought to elevate factors that are inversely related to economic growth and economic development. We are going to see the expansion not only of irrigation and water, because unlike what blighted Hawke's Bay water development options, this bill gives a level of certainty because decisions will be made on the basis of economic rationalism, scientific certainty, and not fabricating tikanga Māori that lessens the status of Māori culture because it becomes weaponised and the part of ideology that is actually alien and foreign to all Kiwis who want to create an opportunity to boost the economy. The economic boost is coming through Fast Track.